Health, Safety, and Human Services Committee to order at 12:03. Roll call, please.
Commissioners Nelson,
Here.
Commissioner Kokenderfer is absent with notice. Commissioner Miller, Jackson,
Here.
Howell,
Here.
Markham,
Here. Sorry, I'm late.
Here. Hoffman,
Here.
Loops.
Here.
Is Miller here yet? Okay. Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
Under God,
indivisible,
With liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Our next item is approval of the minutes from August 11th and August 25th. I have a motion by Commissioner Jackson, support by Commissioner Gingell. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, minutes are approved. I don't need a roll call for that, do I, Pam? Okay,
No,
thank you.
voice vote's fine.
Yep. The next item is approval of the agenda. With your permission, I'd like to move items 7 through 12 and 14 to 25 to the consent agenda. Those are standard agreements. So instead of doing a roll call vote for each agreement, we could put those under the consent agenda if you'd like. Do you want to take a minute to review those items?
Jenny, can you repeat those numbers again?
Items 7 through 12 and 14 through 25. Oh, Commissioner Gingell?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I think that's a great idea. I just wanted to say that I would support it. These are, as you mentioned, standard contracts, and we could do them all at once versus individually. It makes sense to me.
Thank you. Commissioner Markham?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to confirm that these are just, in fact, reimbursing the communities for their law enforcement, where the sheriffs, they pay us for the sheriffs, but we're reimbursing that with CARES dollars for the coronavirus. And these are all the same for all these communities we have contracts with the sheriffs with, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I'm in support of that motion too. Thank you.
All right, then. All in favor say aye.
We would need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Oh, I thought we had a motion from Commissioner Gingell. Do we have a motion from you, Commissioner Gingell?
Yeah, I will move that we approve the agenda as amended with those items. And then, Madam Chair, I'd like to also ask that we add an item to the agenda. It's a miscellaneous resolution regarding free day use park admission for seniors, military veterans, residents with permanent disabilities, and first responders and healthcare workers. It was one that was introduced at a board meeting a couple meetings ago to this committee. So I would ask that we would amend the agenda to include that item for today, which I did have Connie send out to all committee members.
I did. Thank you, Commissioner Gingell. I did receive that email shortly after 11 o'clock this morning. that is something that was brought up at a board meeting. I'm not interested in adding it to the agenda because it's an item that would be on the ballot. And we don't know the financial impact that a free day would be. But the upcoming millage will have revenue to be able to offset that and offer that. So I think we need more information. Commissioner Hoffman?
I support his motion, but also there's nothing on the ballot about free days at the park for veterans or seniors. That has nothing to do with the ballot. The ballot has to do with renewing and increasing the parks millage by 50%. It doesn't speak to that at all. This is a totally separate item that we could do right now.
Commissioner Genzel?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, just for Commissioner Hoffman, the ballot issue that was brought, the ballot language that was brought forward and ultimately approved does include language about providing free day passes if the incremental millage is passed. So it is tie-barred together in the ballot language. My proposal is that a free day pass is a policy item. To me, it has nothing to do with a millage increase. So my request is that this committee and the board take up the matter as a policy issue. So I'll make a motion that we add the free pass miscellaneous resolution to today's agenda. And I think it was supported by Hoffman.
Yeah, I support it, and thanks for the clarification.
Okay, so I'm still not interested because of the financial implications, whereas we're going out for a millage because we need money for increased maintenance and capital improvements. So we have a motion and a support. To my understanding, this one is adding items 7 through 12 and 14 to 25 on the consent agenda and adding the park resolution to it also. Is that correct? Commissioner Genzel? Yeah.
Maybe I can make this easier. Why don't we, if you prefer, Madam Chair, we can do it in 2 steps. I'll make the motion that we amend the agenda to add the free day park pass resolution. And if the board votes on that, then we can come back to the amended agenda. I'll move the amended agenda with the other items. So if you prefer, we could do it in 2 steps.
2 steps will work. So you have a motion to add the park resolution to this agenda. Is there a second for that? Seconded by Commissioner Hoffman. So that's the motion we're voting on now, is adding the park resolution to this agenda, correct? Okay. All right.
If I may, Madam Chair.
Yes. Commissioner.
Yeah, so I appreciate the comments that were put forth by members of the board when we were addressing the ballot issue. There were many comments made about COVID-19 and the mental health and physical health of our residents and the importance of their access to the parks. That was all part of the discussion around the ballot increase. And the more I thought about many of the comments, I would say that I think they're accurate. And providing free access to segments of our community that may need it most for their well-being is a policy issue. It doesn't have to be a ballot issue or a millage issue. And it's something that the board can do now. And so that's why I want to bring this resolution forward and start providing, access to parks for people that may need it most, as stated by many commissioners in the argument around the millage increase. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments regarding this motion? Roll call, please.
To item our 20339 to the agenda, Commissioners Nelson,
No.
Ferdinand, can you repeat?
No.
Okay. Commissioner Miller,
No.
Jackson,
No.
Howell,
No.
Markham,
No.
Gingell? Gingell?
Yes.
Hoffman?
Yes.
Lubes?
No.
Madam Chair, you have 2 yeas, 6 nays.
All right, thank you. So now I would need a motion to amend the agenda to add items 7 through 12 and 14 to 25 to the consent agenda. I have a motion by Commissioner Jackson, support by Commissioner Hoffman. Any other comments about this? Commissioner Gingell?
Yeah, Madam Chair, on the agenda, I just want to make sure, I know originally there was an item regarding body cams and that resolution that was just introduced. I thought that was being removed from today, and I'm looking through the updated agenda to see if it was removed.
That originally was item 26. We still need to work on the language for body cams in a training center. So I did have that removed.
Okay, so the agenda that we're voting on does not include that, so that's what I was looking for. Thank you.
Right. Any other comments or questions?
Commissioner, Lou, this is Commissioner Powell.
Yes.
I just wanted to bring note, hold on. I just wanted to bring note that online though, that number 26 is still there, because that's the one I just asked Chris about before the meeting started, just so you know that, and just so the public knows. That we do have an updated agenda, and it does not reflect that number 26 is on there.
Yeah,
Thank
if I can
26.
clarify. I'm
I'm
sorry,
sorry.
Madam Chair. If I can clarify, we removed item 26 as originally sent out and replaced it with a grant, the Auto Theft Prevention Authority grant, which was an urgent one requesting your approval. So there's still an item 26 on the agenda. It's just a different item.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Roll call, please.
On the agenda as amended, Commissioners Miller,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes,
Markham,
Yes.
Gingell,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Lubes.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 8 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. So we move on to public comment. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak?
Good morning. Currently, there are no callers on our public comment line, and there are no online submissions.
All right, thank you. Then public comment is closed.
Welcome.
Our next item is communications. There are 9 items under communications to receive and file. From the Sheriff's Office, Secondary Road Patrol and Traffic Accident Grant Application, the Edward Bryan Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Application, Narcotics Enforcement Grant Application, from Economic Development, the Veteran Service Fund Grant Application, from Health and Services, Community and Home Improvement Division, their annual action plan, the Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center grant application, the Animal Control Disposition Report for July, the Retirement and Deferred Compensation Board minutes from August, and the VIBA Board minutes from August. So, any comments or questions on this? And all in favor of receiving and filing this, say aye. Oh,
Aye.
sorry.
Madam Chair,
Oh,
Madam Chair,
sorry.
I'll move that we receive and file the communications.
All right.
Nelson support.
Thank you, Commissioner Gingell. Thank you, Commissioner Nelson. Roll call, please.
Commissioners Miller,
Hello. Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes, can you hold for just 10
We can do a
seconds?
voice vote on this
I'll
as well.
be right with you.
Commissioner Miller? On the communications? Jackson?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
Gingell?
Yes.
Hoffman?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Lutz?
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 8 yeas, 0 nays. Communications are received.
Thank you. So the consent agenda, now we would approve. So I need a motion for the consent agenda for items 7 through 12 and 14 through 25, which are the agreements. I have a motion by Commissioner Gingell, support by Commissioner Hoffman. Are there any other comments on the consent agenda? Roll call, please.
On the consent agenda, Commissioners Jackson?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
Gingell?
Yes.
Hoffman?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Lutz?
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 8 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, everybody. We're moving on to our regular agenda. The first item is a legislative update by Jim Bryan. Is Jim here?
I'm here, yes. Thank you.
Welcome.
Madam Chair, members, nice to see you all.
You too.
I have a brief update for you. Some of you may have heard on the news this morning that the legislature and administration have reached a budget deal. As you know, the Constitution requires us to have a budget in place by October 1. So in terms of legislative timing, we're not even cutting it close. We're way ahead of schedule. But couple highlights that I'm sure that all of you are interested in. I wrote 2 of them. First of all, revenue sharing is not going to be cut, nor will school aid. So I think those are 2 positive things that most questions involve regarding the agreement. If there's something else that you have a question about that may or may not be in the budget agreement, please feel free to contact me anytime and I can track down an answer for you. Also, as we talked about at our last update, the bills that deal with changing county commissioners' terms from 2 to 4 years, those conversations are still taking place. Not much has changed since the last time when I told you that what's delaying, it appears as to what's delaying the movement of the bills is that the House version would change the dates to the gubernatorial election, whereas the Senate versions would change the dates to the presidential election dates. So if and when at some point there can be an agreement on which way to proceed, nothing's moving, although there are behind the scenes conversations trying to reach an agreement as to whether to do it gubernatorial or presidential. There's also the foreclosure package put forth by Senator Runstead that I know many of you were asking about. That has recently, it's a 2-bill package, Senate Bill 725 and 726, passed the Senate 38-0 and is now sitting in the House. And it is, we anticipate that this bill will also get done before the end of the year. The last thing is another issue that we have talked about in previous updates. Senator McGregor's property tax forgiveness, which would delay property tax bills. Although we've passed the deadline now, there are still conversations going on with the administration and Senator McGregor on some form of relief to individuals that need some help with respect to their property tax. I think part of the delay is the not knowing what Congress is going to do in terms of another relief package to the states. So it'd be very difficult for us at this point to plan the state budget, some form of relief until we know or can get confirmed from the feds what might be coming our way. So those are the 4 or 5 issues that we've been following. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to do what I can to answer them or find the answer for you. But that's all I have at this point.
Thank you. Are there any questions? All right, your report was concise, so no questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate it.
All right, see you next time.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. So,
Bye, everybody.
thank you. And this was an informational report, so we do not need a vote on any receive and file for this. Thank you. All right, next item is from the Circuit Court, the Michigan Indigent Defense Commission Planning Grant Program Acceptance. I have a motion by Commissioner Ginzel, support by Commissioner Jackson. Is there anybody here who would be talking about this item?
I will be, Madam Chair.
Thank
My
you,
name
Mayor.
is Mary Ann Yergi, and I'm an Assistant Corporation Counsel here in the county, and I'm happy to address you today. The county applied for this planning grant outside of its regular annual Michigan Indigent Defense Commission grant. This is a smaller grant. It's not part of our, $5.3 million grant. We applied for this in April of 2019. It was approved by the MIDC in August of 2019. Inexplicably, we never got the grant contract for this until August of this year. We were never provided with an explanation for that, although I assume it's had to do with the MIDC's budget and their communication with Lara. But here we are, and they're giving us another fiscal year to complete the project. Basically, the project will integrate multiple systems and a few court systems in order to create a standalone system that will do several things. It'll create a rotational counsel appointment system to process attorney assignments, capture the mandated MIDC data, compile needed reports for MIDC quarterly reporting, and process payment vouchers for expense tracking. This system is also designed to be independent of the existing court systems, which will be required when the MIDC approves Standard 5, which is independence of the judiciary. At that time, the Standard 5 is expected to be approved by Lara in October or November of this year and implemented by early spring in 2022. And at that point, we will have to have separated from the court the attorney appointment system, the attorney payment system, expert approval system, and payment of experts and investigators have to be separated from the court. So this system will aid that and be independent from the court. If there are any particular questions about this project, Chris Bujak is here from the Circuit Court, and she sort of spearheaded our grant application for this particular project.
Thank you. Would you tell me the date again that things need to be separated from the court?
So under the MIDC Act, once Lara, the Department of Licensing and Regulation, approves it, we have 180 days to submit a compliance plan. We are expected to submit our compliance plan and our cost analysis of what that will cost on April 30th of 2021. Now, based on my experience with our compliance plans being approved, we typically don't get our grant contracts from the MIDC until September, They go in front of, our board in October, and then sometime in November, we get our first disbursement. Once we get that, we have 180 days, probably from November of 2021, to implement the separation from the judiciary.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? All right, thank you. Roll call, please.
On item number 2, Commissioners Powell,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Angel,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Loops.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 8 yeas, 0 nays.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Marion Kress. Our next item is from Homeland Security Division and Sheriff's Office. Creation of an intelligence analyst position funded by Homeland Security grant. So we have a few people here to address that, but I need a motion first. I have a motion by Commissioner Hoffman, second by Commissioner Jackson. And who would like to start?
Tom can take the lead on this one, and then I can fill in anything.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Mike. All right, Tom.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Commissioners. Tom Hardesty from Homeland Security. This is a grant amendment for our Homeland Security grant. This is the regional allocation portion. Generally, this comes together with the regular grant. With COVID this year, the board was not able to meet timely to set this allocation. So normally the allocation last year was $140,000. That would fund one analyst and partially fund 2 other positions. St. Clair County has relinquished wanting to have an analyst. They've had trouble keeping that filled, so some others. So the request was made for Oakland County to take on the second analyst position due to their ability to better retention rate than the other. So with that request for us to take it is also the funding. So that's the reason for the additional $100,000, which would be a total of $240,000. So Oakland County would go from 1 analyst to 2. They're still working in the DSEMIC, and it's still the same number of analysts in the DSEMIC, just working for a different agency.
Thank you. Are there any questions regarding this item?
Madam Chair, if I could just add something.
Sure.
We took the liberty of posting this before it was approved. That doesn't mean we've hired anybody, but I can tell you we've already had close to 100 applicants for this job. And with Tom's help and them being our employees, we've got a pretty good track record, as you said, of retention. So we're pleased to take this on.
Thank you. All right, roll call, please.
Just a minute.
On item number 3, Commissioners Markham,
Yes.
Angel,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Loops.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 8 yeas, 0 nays.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion carried. Our next item is from the Health and Human Services Health Division, Nurse Education, Practice, Quality, Retention, Registered Nurses and Primary Care Grant Acceptance. So I have a motion by Commissioner Ginzel, support by Commissioner Jackson. Is there someone from the Health Department? Oh, I see Leanne Stafford. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So this is a reimbursement grant that we have with Wayne State University. And for this acceptance period, it is from July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021. And what this does is this provides kind of an they immerse Wayne State nursing students with our registered nurses where they learn about community nursing and how clinic nursing and how to kind of work with vulnerable populations. And so what they do is they reimburse us for an RN that's considered a preceptor for these Wayne State students. And these students work alongside and learn what our registered nurses actually do in the field. And so we have actually acquired and hired nurses from this program after they really learn what a public health nurse does. So this request is for $73,073. It's 3 nurses, our senior nurses, that actually spend time with these students.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions? A roll call, please.
On item number 4, Commissioners Gingell,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Loops.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 8 yeas, 0 nays.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item is from our Children's Village Division, the National School Lunch Program Grant Acceptance. I have a motion by Commissioner Hoffman, support by Commissioner Gingell. Is there someone from Children's Village that wants to address this? All right, let's see.
We have Jody overall. Jody, you there?
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry, didn't see you. I was read the resolution, but happy to have you put it in layman's terms.
Thanks. So, yeah, Jody overall, this is a meal reimbursement grant that Children's Village receives annually. It's one of 2. This one is for meals and snacks served to our kids in residential treatment and detention. We're never sure exactly what the reimbursement is going to be because it's based on how many kids we have, how many meals and snacks that we serve. The reimbursement period is July 1st of 2020 through June 30th of 2021. We received the highest amount of reimbursement because we serve whole grain products and low-fat milk. Last year, we received $241,730.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions for this item? Roll call, please.
On item number 5, Commissioners Hoffman,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Gingell,
Yes.
Loops.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 8 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you.
Thank you. The motion is carried. Our next item is the Water Restart Grant Acceptance. I have a motion from Commissioner Nelson, support from Commissioner who'd like to support it?
Miller?
Commissioner Gingell, thank you. And we have somebody from the Water Resource Commission to speak to this.
Yes, this is Tim Prince, Chief Manager for the Water Resources Commissioner. And with me today is Amy Plush. She's our Water Systems Chief Engineer. So this resolution before you is requesting approval to execute a Water Restart grant with the state of Michigan. On behalf of local communities, our office operates 20 water systems within Oakland County. In response to the COVID-19 pandemic, Executive Order 2020-28 required public water suppliers to make their best efforts to restore water service for all occupied residences. This grant provides 75% reimbursement for the cost of restoring water service, which equates to $32,458 for the water systems our office operates. And that's a quick summary. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to provide additional details.
So this is something done in the past?
This is specific to COVID-19. This is exclusively for that purpose.
Do you have any idea of how many homes would be restored?
Yes, there were 34 services that were restored out of all the systems we operate.
Thank you.
But it was a pretty extensive process to identify where those systems were. There's a lot of homes that it's difficult to tell whether they're occupied or not occupied, and so there was a lot of field work involved and a lot of follow-up with the property owners to determine if there was anybody in the homes.
All right, thank you. Are there any other questions? Commissioner Ginzel?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hey, Tim, just a quick question on this grant, or at least the way we're implementing it. Is there a tie bar to a particular date? Because the way I understand this, the grant is allowing us to get water turned on to residents that do not have water. Maybe they didn't pay their bill and they got shut off, or some other issue, which I understand, and I understand as part of COVID, the rationale for it, but this won't go on for forever, right? I mean, is there a date where this funding runs out and people either have to start paying their bills to get their water turned back on or keep it going, or how does that work?
Yes, this is only good till the end of the year, and our work is essentially completed. So there won't be any additional funding that our office will be requesting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Commissioner Jackson?
Thank you. So quick question, Mr. Prince, as far as the customers who have had water restored, of course, you know, they're still using water during this time period. Will they be billed for usage and arrears when this program ends? First question.
So their water's turned back on. They can, you know, for whatever consumption they use, they are billed for that. If they have arrearages, if they have penalties, they do not get turned off, but that does accumulate. So, but they will not be turned off.
So we'll be in a position at that time because, you know, normally when people are already behind on utilities and they get an extension of some sort and the bills continue to pile up upon people, these same people who may have been having trouble with paying their bills prior to the COVID epidemic and this turn on, will the water resources entity be, will give specific help to these bills? Will they be offered any type of programs or payment arrangements or anything? Because I've seen customers get snowballed upon in these type of situations.
Yeah, we have a current assistance program through Great Lakes Water Authority. And so that program is active right now and is available to anybody that's in any of these water systems. So we have an existing program. And then also there's a Senate bill that's being proposed that would also provide funding for people that had their water off due to COVID-19. Amy, you probably know a little bit more details about that bill than I do.
Yep, Senate Bill 690 would help customers who receive food stamps, and we've been working with the agencies to get that implemented too, so that should happen in the future.
Great, that's good to hear. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, roll call, please.
On item number 6, Commissioners Nelson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Gingell,
Yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Lubes.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 8 yeas, 0 nays.
All right, motion carries. Thank you, everybody. On our agenda now, items 7 through 12, we approved under the consent agenda. So that takes us to 13, the transfer of ownership and release of claims agreement for the K9 dog Jax from our sheriff's department. I have a motion by Commissioner Gingell, support from Commissioner Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jax is a dog that has been with us for almost 9 years. The dog is at the end of its career, and as we have traditionally done for many years, we have asked the county to approve the sale of the dog for $1 to the handler. As you know, the canine becomes part of the handler's family. So we're just asking you to do what we've done in the past and let this dog retire to its home with its handler and live out the rest of its life.
Sounds like a good plan. Any comments regarding this? All right, roll call, please.
On item 13, Commissioners Miller,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Gingell,
Sorry, yes.
Hoffman,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Lubes.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 8 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Now items 14 through 25, the consent agenda. So that takes us to item 26 from the Sheriff's Department, the Automobile Theft Prevention Authority Grant Acceptance. So I have a motion from Commissioner Gingell, support from Commissioner Hoffman. You didn't have to turn your camera off very long, did you?
I forgot about. Hey, by the way, thank you for taking all those items under consent agenda. You saved us. Get to go eat lunch after this now.
Mhm.
This is a public act that was started in 1986. There's a $1 surcharge on all private and now commercial auto theft, or excuse me, insurance policies that funds a statewide auto theft prevention authority that then puts out grant money based on a competitive basis. We're asking you to accept the grant again this year. Members of we have 2 teams. We have a north team that's assigned up here at headquarters in Pontiac, and we have a south team that is generally hosted, hosted by the Southfield Police Department, Commissioner Jackson, as you know, that the chief has been good enough to give us office space down there. And in the team are multiple sheriff's deputies and sergeants, 2 sergeants that supervise each team, participants in the grant. Detroit has an officer assigned to our south team in Southfield. We have a deputy assigned to Detroit's auto theft team down in Detroit. It's a great partnership we have with Chief Craig. As you know, 8 Mile Road isn't recognized as a border by car thieves. So there's a lot of action that goes back and forth between Oakland County and Detroit when it regards to auto theft. So Detroit participates, we participate at Farmington Hills PD, Hazel Park PD, Royal Oak PD, Southfield PD. And there is a typo on there. It says Pontiac Police Department. That should be the city of Pontiac, because there is a deputy that is assigned to the Pontiac substation, and the city of Pontiac assigns that deputy through our substation to the auto theft unit, and that will be corrected tomorrow at Finance Committee. Any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. Doesn't look like there are any questions. All right, roll call, please. I'm not sure if Pam froze or not.
Looks like she did.
Oh, wait a minute for Pam to return, or perhaps Barbara would be able to take roll call. Chris, do you?
Sure, I can, let
Yeah.
me, I am ready. I don't know what Pam's order was, so if I don't start with her order, I apologize. Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Markham,
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman,
Yes.
Commissioner Gingell,
Yes.
Commissioner Loops,
Yes.
Commissioner Powell,
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 8 yes, 0 nays.
Thank you.
I didn't vote.
Carries.
Oh, sorry,
I didn't vote.
Commissioner Jackson. Sorry, Commissioner
Yes.
Jackson.
It's okay, yes.
Now you have 8. Sorry. So, go ahead.
All right, thank you. The motion carries.
Thank you
We're-
very much.
Thank you. We're moving on to the next item. The Board of Commissioners urging Congress to take action on the deferred removal for Iraqi nationals, including Minorities Act. So I have a motion by Commissioner Miller, support from Commissioner Nelson. Commissioner Miller, you are the sponsor. Would you like to say anything about this?
Yeah, this is, this is something that we definitely should get behind, in my opinion, of course. The Iraqi nationals that are here, they have deep roots. They've been here for many years. They've, they have permanent residence, lawfully permanent residence, should I say. And they came here way back when, a lot of them as refugees, and then worked their way to become citizens. They have family here. They share key roles in all of our communities. So this is something that I would ask you guys to back along with me. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are there any comments or questions regarding this item? Commissioner Gingell?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Maybe for the resolution introducer, but are these individuals documented individuals legally here in the country through any process or procedure?
I can't speak for all of them. I do not know every single person they're talking about, so I couldn't tell you yes or no on that.
Yeah, so I just have a concern that as a Board of Commissioners, we're making a statement that could be subject to federal laws or opposing federal laws. I just am not comfortable with it without having the detail or the information. We put a resolution up here, and we could be essentially contradicting, federal law on legal entry into the country and being a illegal immigrant in the country.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know. Any other comments regarding this resolution? Commissioner Miller?
Yeah, so if you read the resolution, a lot of these are the ones that haven't had a court case for their through the immigration court system. So if you look at it, this is something that I've heard, last year that there was a lot of people talking about this, and so I would say, to be direct, if we don't support this, and if you get behind the other side of it, you're potentially sending some of these people to their death when they go back to their country, because a lot of them don't even have roots over there anymore. They've brought their family. They've been here for years. So this is something that, I don't feel that it's wrong to do. I mean, like I said, a lot of them are waiting to go to court, but if they haven't got to that yet because they're backed up or shut down or what have you, we've all dealt with that through COVID. We're just going to send them away. So I disagree with not supporting this. I would ask you all to support this with me again. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Markham?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So as I read this resolution, what it is asking us to do is support the bills that are in Congress, and the bills that are being put forth are bipartisan, which I appreciate. So I will be supporting it based on that. There is a bipartisan coalition. The bills were introduced by Michigan representatives, and so I will support it based on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Hoffman?
I agree with all the comments are made and the concerns Commissioner Ginjo has, but I too will be supporting this because everybody's entitled to their day in court per se. And I've read up on this too over the last couple of years that it's been unfolding. And I think it's almost a miscarriage of justice to do things without, more of an understanding and, their day in court. So I support it.
Thank you. Any other comments? I'll ask for roll call. I believe Pam, Pam's back. Welcome back. All right.
Thanks, sorry about that. Roll call on number 27. Commissioners Powell?
Madam Chair.
Yes. Yes. Sorry, hold on, Pam. Commissioner Genzel?
Okay.
Sorry, I'd raised my hand before the roll call. I listened to Commissioner Markham's comments about the bipartisan support, and I pulled up the resolution. All this is doing is asking, it's a non-binding resolution where we're asking Congress to do something, right? That's what I read it to be.
Yes, sir. This is in support of the current introduced legislation in the Congress.
All right, thank you. So this doesn't necessarily call out if they're illegal immigrants or not, but it's asking Congress to determine the appropriate procedures.
No, not really. It asked to defer any deportation for 48 months. So most of the refugees, when their status expired, they need to go through the court process, and the court process takes time. So they are just asking to defer it in time, so each individual has their fair chance to be heard in the court.
I think I have an answer to Commissioner Genzel's specific point earlier, just by quickly looking at the legislation. It says the bill would exclude from deferral those who pose a threat to national security, are returning voluntarily, or are subject to extradition. Authorization and documentation for the purpose of employment would be valid for 24 months. Deferral to those who apply through the Department of Homeland Security. DHS would be required to provide notice of these changes 2 months after their enactment. DHS would be prevented from detaining any individual who receives a deferral for the 24-month period.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That is very helpful and appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, looking at everybody. Any other comments? All right, roll call, please.
On item number 27, Commissioners Powell?
Yes.
Markham?
Yes.
Genjo?
Yes.
Hoffman?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yes.
Lutz?
Yes.
I'm sure you have 8 yeas, 0 nays.
All right, thank you, everybody. The next item is another resolution recognizing the second Monday of October as Indigenous Peoples Day. So I have a motion by Commissioner Miller, support from Commissioner Nelson. Commissioner Miller, is there anything you would like to add to this, address this resolution with?
I mean, this is something that, there's been, I believe, well, it says in the resolution, 11 states, 129 cities in the United States have passed this to give the indigenous people their day. I mean, they were here before any of us were here, and they deserve the right to not be discriminated against and not feel like they're not part of our communities, right? This is a day of their celebration that we should honor them. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Hoffman?
I have no problem with anything you said, Commissioner Miller, and I have no problem honoring them. But we're going to get rid of Columbus Day to do it. Why can't we honor all of them? They're all part of our history and they're there for a different reason. That's a
Thank you.
question.
Commissioner Ginzel? We'll see if we have an answer, Commissioner Hoffman. Commissioner Ginzel?
Yeah, no, I think Commissioner Hoffman's point's a great point. And I guess I'd like to make an amendment that we honor the indigenous people on the third Monday rather than the second. I think Commissioner Hoffman's point is very valid. So I would move that amendment.
I support that.
Thank you, Commissioner Hoffman. Any other comments regarding the amendment? Commissioner Miller?
I disagree with this. Columbus Day is here because Columbus, discovered America, but the indigenous people were here way before that happened. So trying to change the day is ridiculous. It's just another way that to suppress them. I mean, like people have been doing for years. You're trying to take away from the indigenous people. So it's clearly that there's no respect for them on this day. So I'm going to vote no on this.
Thank you. Commissioner Hoffman?
With all due respect, Commissioner Miller, I totally disagree. I don't know that, in my opinion, that makes a lot of sense. If we're honoring all these people and we're honoring them for different reasons, and I can't argue with you 1 minute about the contributions indigenous people made to our country and our history, but we can't exclude one over another. That's why I agree we should include this group, but have them the week before Columbus Day, if that makes it better. I don't know. I think we should honor all of them. Don't change history.
Thank you. Commissioner Ginzel?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I guess I'm seeking to learn, is there a particular reason why the second Monday in October, I believe it is the right date for the opportunity to recognize the indigenous people? In the history of this country, it is the date that Columbus founded America from a settler's point of view, not from an incumbent's point of view. I totally get that. And I agree with Commissioner Hoffman. We should recognize them. So to me, I am not aware of the significance of the second Monday in October from a historical activity standpoint, which is why my amendment is to recognize them, just to move it to the third Monday, or if people are more interested in having it the first Monday of October, I'm fine with that too.
Thank you. Commissioner Nelson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. If it's not too late, I would like to be a co-sponsor of this resolution.
I'm sure that could be managed. Commissioner Jackson?
I just want to speak to Commissioner Miller's points. It's not that we are trying to dishonor history. We're just trying to really reflect upon how history was written and actually miswritten. I get it. I get where he's coming from. I feel the same way. I agree with the resolution in the original presentation, and I would be voting yes on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any, Commissioner Ginzel?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I do believe that Columbus Day is currently a county holiday. Does this action then replace Columbus Day as a county holiday for county employees?
Columbus Day is not a county holiday right now. We switched a couple of years ago for the day after Thanksgiving, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So we have a motion and support for an amendment to this. Are there any other comments regarding the amendment? All right, roll call, please.
On the amendment to change to the third Monday, Commissioners Markham?
No.
Ginzel?
Yes.
Hoffman?
Yes.
Nelson,
No.
Miller,
No.
Jackson,
No.
Powell,
No.
Loops.
No.
Madam Chair, you have 2 yeas, 6 nays.
All right, now we move on to the original resolution. Are there any other comments regarding the motion and support for the original resolution? Roll call, please.
On item number 28, Commissioners Gingell,
No.
Hoffman,
No.
Nelson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes. Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Loops.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 6 yeas and 2 nays.
All right, thank you. That motion is carried. The last item on the regular agenda is from the Animal Shelter and Pet Adoption Center. The Shelter and Pet Adoption Center Equipment Grant Amendment over 15%. Do I have a motion by Commissioner Gingell, support from Commissioner Markham? I see Bob Gatt on here. Bob, is there anything you'd like to say in addition to what we have in our back?
Yes, Commissioner. Good afternoon, everyone. What I'm trying to accomplish today is just to amend the grant that you approved back in July. A very generous organization granted us money at that time. We were going to use the monies partly to change our communication system within the building so that the animals can listen to a more soothing type of music. We're proceeding with that part of the grant. The other part of the grant originally was to purchase tasers for our animal control officers. After a lot of research and talking to some experts, we decided to move away from that project. Our goal is to make our officers as safe as possible, and we don't believe at this juncture that a taser is a safe weapon to use if a dog is charging at you. Too easy to miss, and we believe the officers could get hurt. So instead of tasers, what we would like to do is to enhance our security system on our outdoor kennels, which this last several months we've had a rush of people abandoning their animals into the kennels at night without any documentation, without leaving any form of identification. We don't know who they are. We don't know why they're doing it. We don't know anything about the animal. At least one of them was near death when it was left there. So what we would like to do is permission to proceed with enhancing the security system outside, which will give us and put signs up that will tell anybody in that area after hours that they're on camera, quote the law that they can't do this, and give them a phone number to call where our building safety would proceed to where they're at. And all we're asking for really is for identification and a reason and anything they can give us about the animal. So the generous organization has agreed to redirecting that money if you agree to it as the board.
Thank you. Are there any questions regarding this item? All right, thank you, Bob. Nice to hear from you again. Roll call, please.
On item 29, Commissioners Hoffman,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Markham,
Yes.
Gingell,
Yes.
Loops.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you have 8 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you
All right.
all.
Thank you. Thanks, Bob. Motion is carried. Are there any other items to come before this board? With no other items, then I declare this meeting adjourned at 1:14.